said nothing.
Ooh, hello, everybody. Hello, Leo the lion. Did you see your color changed? I made you a mod. I didn't ask you first. Thay, hello. How you doing, sweetheart? Protected by God. I was gonna ask you if you would like to be a mod. I wanted to ask you first before I did that. Um, oh, Tawana, hi, sweetie. Hi, Letha. Let's see, Lovebug. Hi, Lovebug. How y'all doing? I'm sorry I'm late. I had a very important phone call that I had to take. And then God gave me a title just before I sat down in this chair. Hey, Simone. How are you? It's good to see you guys this evening. Oh my goodness, it's so dreary outside, but I feel good nevertheless. Pretty brown eyes, you know I see you. Hey Ben 253, hi baby, how you doing? He said hi boo, hi to everyone else. Damn you sexy. Oosh. That's why you come straight home. That's right. Come on home. Good to see you guys. Faith, hey baby. Hi Fonda. Rachel Haynes, thank you for the $1.49 super sticker. I appreciate it. Yes, you guys, press the like as you come in. Hi Jess. Yes, Love Jones. You know what, Love Jones, I gotta tell you. Your name is very close and dear to my heart. Because both of my sons, well, actually, no, I take that back. My youngest son had that tattooed on, I think it was on his arm. That was his little nickname he had for himself. And then his first son that was born, he gave him the middle name of Love. So his name is Elijah Love Jones because our last name is Jones. Okay, we may be cousins for real. Hi, Alfreda. How you doing? Good to see you, Deborah. Hi, how are you? Wonderful to see everybody here in the chat. This is wonderful. Oh, it feels so good to sit down and just converse with people that I can relate to. For real. It's so good to see y'all. So I hope you guys had a wonderful day today. Um, I had a pretty good day as well. The baby that I usually watch during the day, he left on time, and I was glad to see him go. I ain't trying to be funny, but I like to be on time, and sometimes the times overlap, so I can't really be on Tony's live at 3 o'clock when he starts at 3. Sometimes he starts sooner. So yeah, so you guys hit the like button for me. I'd appreciate it. And I'm going to try to give people time to come in and get settled. Y'all might want to go get you something out the refrigerator or something like that. Something to drink, a cold beverage, a warm beverage. I got my tea. Yes, I do. Don't mind the little middle finger. That's for certain people, not y'all. This is for other people that like to keep my name in their mouth. And yeah, so I use it for that purpose and that purpose only. Oh goodness, we had a wonderful live last night. That bad boy lasted 4 hours. I'm doing good, Thay. I'm doing good. How are you? How's the job? Oh, Tawana said, I got my adults drink popping. That's right. Pretty Brown Eyes got her Starbucks. Hey, Fonda. Oh, wow, Auntie. Sometimes I just can't help myself. Millionaires Cove. Did you see your color has changed as well? I didn't ask. I just did. I hope you don't mind. Hi, Anita. Junior, I see you, girl. Oh, I feel so much better to have more mods because I don't like to bog Jess down. Because man, Jess, she's supposed to be on vacation and she's in here modding. Um, I really appreciate her so much. I really do. She does quite a bit for both Tony and I. She keeps us both in line, and I appreciate her for that. Hi, Tish. How are you, sweetheart? Hey, Retretta. How you doing? How you doing? Dawn Beard. Yes, you are a different color now as well. Honey, take your time. Just take your time. If you don't know what to do, just ask. Ask anyone else in the chat, any other mod in the chat. Just ask. But we're as long as everyone's respectable, everybody can have their own opinion. It's only when they get, when they cross the line. And I know you have plain and common sense. You know when they're crossing the line. Hi, Gloria Perry. How are you, my love? Faith said, just the best. Bring me one. All right, sweetheart. And Faith, I'm going to ask you too if you would like to be a mod. I just wanted to ask you first before I just threw you under the bus. I don't want to do that. Sometime I may need you to come up here on, on the platform. Hi, Karen Smith. Hi, Charles. How you doing, Charles? Okay, just for the sake of understanding, I need all men only, to put a 1 in the chat. I just want to see how many men we have in the house. Because I don't want Charles to feel alone. Yes, Dawn. Yes, we're going to have a good discussion. Hi, Quiet Storm. You're blue too. Let me put this. I'm going to put this link in here for you to come up. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, we got Tony. I got a 1 from Tony. Now I know Charles is a 1. Leo the Lion, are you a 1? Inquiring minds would like to know. I'm not gonna assume anything, but I'm pretty sure you are. Hey, Auntie Mickey, I need a hug after listening to Mr. Storm put his boots on the ground. Ooh, honey, we all need a hug after Sergeant Sergeant Gummy.
That's right. Yeah, Sergeant Gummy.
There he go.
That's
Sergeant Gummy.
I'm
Hi,
up in the
Sergeant
house.
Charge. Look, Sergeant Gummy, you got some competition in the chat by
Who
the
that?
name of Sergeant Charge.
Who?
Yep,
Sergeant
Sergeant Charge.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Let me talk to my friend in the chat.
Okay.
Sergeant Charge. I know you in charge.
Okay, Leo's a female. Okay. Thank you, Leo, for telling me that because I assumed. Okay.
Sergeant Charge is in charge, but I'm sorry, Gummy. And Sergeant Gummy, hey, Sergeant Charge, we gonna have to have a conversation there, bruh. There can't be but one sergeant up in here. But I love you, Sarge. I love you.
Trina Renee, we will definitely keep you in prayer.
Oh my God. I timed out somebody. Oh my God. Hey, Dallas Unlimited. That was
the
a
lease
mistake.
is unlimited.
Please, Lord, forgive me. Hold on.
I ain't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I was trying to get somebody and I was trying to hit them fast. And I'm so sorry.
Ooh, you know what? And that happens when that chat is going fast. When you think you got the person, it'll jump up once and then you end up timing out the wrong person. That happens quite often.
I'm so sorry. Make sure you come back, and I'm gonna apologize to you publicly because I did not mean to do that. I didn't. Lord have mercy.
Oh my God. Yeah, they sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Oh, it sounds like Sergeant Gummy.
Sergeant Gummy.
Oh,
Don't ask
my-
ask how he got that name.
You know what? Wait a minute now. Hold on. I gotta go on a minute. Oh, hold up. They talking to me like that right there. Dang. I thought you was my girl thing. I thought we had a thing going, a thing. They asked me if I had a girlfriend, but I ain't say I had one. And the only reason I ain't say I ain't had one, cause I didn't see you, and I ain't want to get in no trouble when I see you. But now that I see you, I got a girlfriend. Yes, I do.
Sergeant Gummy. Sergeant Gummy. Sergeant Gummy. I don't know.
My girl now. I'm saying
okay, well, let me just warn you.
What that?
They stands 5'8".
Okay.
Okay, just warning you.
I climb trees.
Okay.
Hey, I'm putting. Because I'm
Wait, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's even better. I can grab an arm like a branch right there. And when I get with it, I'm trying to tell you now. Yes,
oh my God. What did I shouldn't have never said nothing. I'm so sorry.
I ain't never scared of no tall woman. Matter of fact, let me tell you a true story.
Okay. Because the title is Everybody Got a Story. So we'll start with yours.
Well, I got a story.
Okay.
Every time I see a real tall woman and she look good, I'm like, I gotta run up to her. I gotta if she in the restaurant, I gotta buy something. I gotta do it. Cause that's what Sergeant Gummy do. You know what I'm saying? Sergeant Gummy gotta make them feel good. You know what I'm saying? Gotta make them feel good. Now, the only thing about it is I always end up by myself.
Well, Sergeant Gummy, you might want to revisit those those approaches.
Well, I thought they was pretty okay myself because I was cordial.
But you know what? Let me give you a little word of advice about running up to people nowadays and buying them stuff.
You can't run up on them. You got to send it to them. You can't run up.
But listen. We got some thirsty women out here these days.
Well, why I ain't got no?
Look.
Anybody gave me no drink so they can be thirsty.
But the thirsty I'm talking about can cost you a lot more than a drink.
Well, okay.
It's more than let me buy you a drink. There's more to it.
Yeah, they probably
Some of them want Gucci bags. They want their nails done, their hair done, and they just met you.
No, they mightn't get the hair done. They mightn't get the nails done, but that's about it right there.
Ooh, wee.
No, I ain't gonna be able to do it. I'm
broke.
I'm broke. Now
yep, and Divine Goddess
he
said it right and true. And watch out for the gold diggers too.
Oh, yeah, you gotta watch out for them.
Yeah.
They got a big shovel.
Yeah, big shovel.
I'm trying to tell you, they got a big shovel.
Oh my God, what did Kanye say about them gold diggers? I'm gonna leave it alone. Man, I'm telling you the truth. They said, quiet, you could be my grandfather. We cool though, Unc.
You know what? I'm out on that one right there. I don't know you no more.
Give her a couple more years. She'll be 21 in a couple more years.
21?
Yeah, she'll be 21 in a couple more years.
Oh no, you off the books. You can't. No.
That was my subtle way.
Oh, they fired. She fired right now. She fired. You know, I ain't gonna be able to do it. No.
Back smooth.
I got milk older than 21 years old. got some milk with some stank cheese and been hanging off that milk
Ooh.
for a long time. You know how long it take to make stank cheese? It take about
Ooh.
25 years to make stank cheese. That cheese so
Boy.
stank and so fermented that it tastes good. I mean, the worse the cheese is, the better it tastes. And you mean tell me they ain't but 21? She still got milk on the chin.
I'm sorry I outed you today. I'm sorry. Oh,
One, two, three,
God.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh,
Uh,
good
Oh,
grief.
no,
I
I ain't
seen
gonna
something
be.
up here.
I
You
ain't gonna
said
be
20
that.
what?
I'm not gonna be. I'm not gonna be able to do it. I'm telling you.
Not today, Josephine. Trina,
No,
protected by God. How are you, love?
we ain't trying to go to jail. Mhm.
No. Lisa said Don Julio with a twist and pistachios and positive vibes. That's what we about tonight. Yes. We're going to do some positive vibes tonight.
That's right. With some Don Julio. Wait a minute. What's Don Julio?
Oh, the opposite of Juan Julio. Don't get me to lying. I don't know. Auntie, are people still buying Gucci bags? I suppose so, because I seen a Gucci store the other day when I drove through downtown. So I guess they still buying them bags.
Let me tell you something about them Gucci bags right
Give
there.
me Aldo.
If they gonna buy a Gucci bag, y'all might as well go to one of the Chinese stores and just get you everything you want. Cause I'm here to tell you them. Anyway, y'all know
Yeah.
them Gucci bags.
I never understood that mentality. And I'm not knocking people. If you can afford it, by all means, God bless you. But I'm just as cool to go to Goodwill and find me a Gucci bag that somebody got rid of and gave to Goodwill. And I'll buy it from them. Yeah, you're right, Silence.
Did you say the Goodwill store?
I go to Goodwill.
Okay.
I'll be the first to tell y'all I go to Goodwill.
I ain't gonna say nothing bad about the
Ain't
Goodwill.
no shame in my game.
But look here. Let me tell you something. I went to Goodwill one time. I went to get a bike. And when I got the bike, I was happy. So I was riding the bike, right? I rode the bike a half a block. Stopped to get me a cheeseburger.
Oh,
I came back and the bike was gone. They done stole Sergeant Gummy's bike.
But that ain't Goodwill's fault. You should have bought a chain while you were there.
I just told you I only had the bike a half a block. I couldn't get to the store fast enough.
But you should have bought a chain when you bought the bike, and that way you could have chained up the bike. Or did somebody just snatch it from you? Was that what you were saying?
Wait, they snatched it, but I was inside the burger place when they snatched it. They ain't snatched it from me.
So you didn't chain it up.
They took me. They go to that girl Jess the best. Ooh-wee. Get rid of thing and pick up Jess. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jess is on a boat right now. She's out on the water on those waves.
I ain't going out on the ocean. Lauren C in the house too now.
Lauren C is definitely in the house. And you see Lauren C is a new color.
Oh, she got that blue.
I gave her the blue. I gave her the blue.
Hey, wait a minute. Hold on.
Look what Jess wrote. So you having my baby. Jodeci, be careful, Sergeant Gummy. Don't get Jess started because she'll get pregnant over a song.
Hold on. Let me sing a song. Feelings. Nothing more than feelings.
Oh, Jesus.
Trying to forget my
Lord have mercy.
feelings of love.
Bless him, Lord. Bless him, Lord. Ooh, give him pitch, Lord. Give him pitch. Yes, get him on key. Get him on key, Lord. Help him, Lord. Help him, Lord. Help him.
Wish I never left you, girl.
Oh, my goodness.
'cause you never come again.
Oh, don't come again. Yes.
Nothing more than feelings.
Feelings.
Trying to forget Jess. Why she gone away?
Okay, it was the pitch. Yeah. Mhm. He's still singing.
Yeah, I'm singing. I'm trying to
Okay. I thought maybe you was squealing. I couldn't quite tell.
Well, I had to hit the high note for Jess, so
Yeah.
she knew I wasn't
It,
playing.
it was so high we couldn't hear it. It was like only your dogs could hear it. You know that silent whistle that only dogs can hear? That's what
That's,
you
that's,
just did.
that's kind of what it was. That's my whistle voice. You're not supposed to hear that voice because I'm telling the woman some things in that voice that only the woman cannot hear. No, nobody know but me what I said because she can't hear it, the dog can't hear it. No, nobody but I can't even hear it.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just telling you the
Well,
truth. I'm just telling the truth right now.
uh-huh.
Who
Well,
this here? Junia.
Junia.
What's up,
That's
Junia?
that's my girlfriend Anita. Her name is Anita. That's my
Oh,
friend.
okay. Well, where Charles at? Charles up in here?
Charles probably ran off. Charles sometimes he don't like to be in a room full of women. So he probably ran away. Charles, you still here, sweetheart?
I don't know what's wrong with Charles. I need to be in the room with full of women. You know. Them are all kind of pillows right there. Pillows. Pillows. You know what the pillows is? Yeah. Pillows. You get to go to sleep.
Oh my goodness.
You get to go to sleep. Right
Oh God. Protected by God, said Sergeant Gummy, don't you dare quit your day job.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. What you trying to say? You trying
There's Charles Spears.
You can't say I can't say I can say. Wait a minute. Prove it and come get me.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute. Now hold on, Jess.
Uh-oh, a challenge.
Don't tempt me. I will get a helicopter and come on that boat right now. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get up and now. We're gonna get up. We're gonna go right there.
Oh God.
Right there.
Oh goodness.
I'm gonna sing to you just the best. 'Cause you get some rest. Just the best. I'm gonna sing to you just 'cause just the best is the less of the best. It's just just the best.
Dokey.
Now I need to hit my high note. Girl, I try.
You just had a Lenny flashback.
Yeah. Said I love you. Yeah. In my mind. Hey, but one thing I got to say to Jess on that cruise right now, because it's dark right now. Turn off the lights and make the candles glow.
Dun, 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 dun.
Girl, you know what I want to know. Turn off the lights. Turn them off. Turn them off. Turn them off. Oh, hey. Quiet storm.
Oh, Jesus. Let us pray. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we ask that you cover Sergeant Gummy in the hedge of protection from them high-pitched notes that only dogs can hear.
Yeah.
In the name of Jesus.
In the name.
In the mighty name. Amen.
All right, somebody go and take the offering up now.
Take the offering. Let's pass the plate.
Send me my coins. I need my coins.
I'm just messing with
I
you.
need my coins. Look here. Since it's my birthday, I need me a pint of butter pecan ice cream. No, I want a half gallon of butter pecan ice cream.
A half gallon of what kind? Butter pecan?
Butter pecan.
Okay. Jess, we can make that happen, right? We just got to get his address, right? We'll get that later.
I sent it already. What?
No, we don't have your address, sir.
I know. I was trying to take care of that there.
But see, that's what happens when you don't return phone calls and put us on hold. Yeah, I'm going to tell it. Tony don't return phone calls all the time. I'm telling on you. Poor Jess is pulling her hair out trying to get stuff taken care of for you, and you just don't listen.
I'm gonna tell the truth. I fall asleep and I'll be gone, and then I realize, y'all, I'm gonna tell the truth. I wake these ladies up all the time. I don't even. It's bad.
I know. Mine too. I can relate.
Jess, she told on me, Jess.
I did. I got you, girl. You know I got your back.
Divine gotta say, bad returning phone calls. No good. Well, wait a minute now. Hold on. Y'all got to understand, when we talk, it don't be no 30 seconds phone conversation. And then I'm scared of Jess when she called. I ain't gonna lie. When Jess calls, that might not be a good phone call, because I stay in trouble.
Yes, she's definitely about business.
I got in trouble today.
I believe it. You usually get in trouble at least once a day, sometimes twice.
Yeah, I'm good for at least one or twice. Yeah, I'm good for that.
So, let's see. Ruby Tolson says, "What's tonight's topic?" It is actually listed at the top of the screen, I believe. Just like Angie, everybody has a story. That's the topic of this evening, because we want to keep it in line with Angie Stone. And yet we want to be able to share our own personal stories, in that, even though her story was somewhat out of the ordinary compared to us everyday people, we have some stories that we can share as well that are not everyday stories that you would think.
Tomorrow we're gonna have an awesome story. We're gonna have a part 1 and a part 2. Part
Okay.
1 will be on my channel, and part 2 will be on your channel.
Okay.
So they'll have to go to both to hear the whole interview. And I'm gonna tell you, this is an interview you're not gonna want to miss, because this interview is an absolute Angie Stone authorian.
Okay.
There's no hearsays, none of that with this interview. Straight from the camp.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be real good. This one's gonna be real good. Ooh, it's gonna be good.
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I was saying, Lord have mercy, myself. My mouth was dropped. I said, hold on. I can't even record this. I'm not gonna record this. I'm gonna need you just say it.
Him again. Petty paperwork. Who you talking about? Him again. Can you elaborate on that? Who's him again? Oh, Carlos Johnson is in the house. Hi, Carlos.
Who is Carlos Johnson?
I'm not sure, but I've seen his name before. Hello, how are you? He said teamwork. That's it. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Well, who is petty paperwork talking about him again?
I don't know. That's what I was wanting to know. Just that paperwork. No, wait, just that. That's not what she could have.
Straight from the camp is asking a question. Straight from the camp. but an attorney,
Wait, I don't.
maybe not.
Wait, straight from the camp. I don't even see that name. Where is that at? Where am I at?
No,
Everybody else is ahead of me.
I don't see straight from the camp either.
Oh, I thought you said straight from the camp.
I
Oh,
said
I thought you were saying
petty paperwork. Oh, justice
petty.
for Angie. But she said whoever petty paperwork said him again.
I don't know what petty
I was wondering
paperwork
what they
meant.
were talking about him again.
Jess blocked him on Tony's page. What is petty paperwork? Ain't said nothing out of line. Now, if he's been blocked on Tony's page, that's Tony's page. But he hasn't said anything out of line over here.
I don't think I blocked him on my page.
Yeah. He said justice for Angie. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't recall ever blocking that person's name.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. But anyway, we're going to get off of this. We're going to stay out of this chat. That's why I got more mods. I believe that the mods that I got are very, very capable of deciphering who should go and who should not. So, but I do have one question.
Mm-hmm.
My girl, Junia, she said, I need her to elaborate. She said, turn off that ring cam. What ring cam you talking about? I ain't got no ring cam. What ring? Oh, yes, I do. I got one at my front door. Is that the one you talking about? Because I'm not turning that off. I need to see who's coming before they get to the door.
Well, what it want to say turn off the ring cam for? What's up?
I don't know, June. Anita, what does turn off that ring cam mean? Because she could have been responding to something else. Maybe if I scrolled all the way down, I might see her answer, huh? I'm just sitting here.
And me, I don't have a ring cam because you walk up on my spot. Good luck.
Oh, Ruby Tolson said, "Happy birthday, Quiet Storm."
Yeah, I saw that.
AKA Tony.
Yeah.
Oh, she was talking about Sergeant Gummy. Oh,
Sergeant Gummy. Oh, that joker needed ring cam and everything else. That dude, yes. That dude ain't responsible.
Okay. So, what I would propose to do, as I usually do, is I always invite someone to come. I'm going to have one person at a time this time to come up if you want to share a story with us. We don't need to know all your business, but I think it's appropriate in the guise of Angie and what she went through close to being no longer with us. She had quite the story, and she was able to tell her story to us just in time for us to hear it before she left this earth. And I think everybody has a story that people can benefit off of. Some people are not comfortable sharing their stories, some are. But I, for one, I don't have a problem sharing my story because I look at it as a testimony. It was a test that I had to go through in order to get to. So, okay, Junior said, when the young man said every time he gets a call from the young lady, he's in trouble. That's why he does not answer. Or could it be Bacon see what's happening in his home? Okay. Child, you still got me confused. Okay. So what I'm gonna do?
I don't answer the phone sometimes because I know I'm in trouble. But
yeah.
I to be honest, I've worked so long, so many hours on this case that I will fall asleep in my chair and I just be nodded off and I don't hear my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden when I wake up, I wake them up. It don't fail.
Nita, you should see how many times your brother, my husband, has to come and wake me up out of this very chair I'm sitting in. This is a lot of work, and I fall asleep right here in this chair after that live stream. So it's easy for us to do that. So
Yeah. And DJ Wilma's Grown and Sexy channel. Thank you so very much. Where's your channel, DJ Wilma? I'd like to patronize and come by whatever it is. Especially when you talk about grown.
why I was about to say why, because you like this the name.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna see some grown and sexy stuff? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
I didn't say that, but
DJ Wilma's grown and sexy channel. She got some grown and sexy content.
yep.
Yes. So he want to come by, DJ Wilma's.
Yeah, I want
It's
to
his
come
birthday. Go, Tony. It's your birthday.
Yep.
Gonna party like it's your birthday.
Yep.
Oh, goodness. Millionaires Cove Home said, happy blessed birthday, Tony. May God continue to cover and bless you beyond measures. So glad that you are having fun tonight with us. Exactly. We need a little break from the heaviness.
Yeah.
But we still want to keep in line with Angie.
Yep.
I still want to keep in line with Angie, and we can do both. We can chew gum and walk at the same time. So,
Well, I can walk. I don't know about the chewing the gum.
well, me either. I can't chew gum no more. These teeth won't allow it. Anyway, let's see. Ruby Tolson said, did anyone see the live last night that Diamond did? She said she is going to sue all the bloggers for lying about her family. Her title was Boots on the Ground. It was hilarious. That wasn't live last night. That was actually from Saturday night. And yes, we saw it. And we're not even going to talk about that anymore. This is going to be a totally different live, Ruby. We are going to try to be as positive as possible. We give prayers for Diamond and her brother. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Carlos said, glad you all continuing to seek justice. The family will come around. Just hope it's not too late. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so with that, we're going to stay prayerful that all works out, because God is still on the throne. He's in control, no matter what.
That's right. And DJ Wilma's Grown and Sexy channel. I just looked at the channel. Yeah, you got the right music over there. You may need to get in contact with me about seeing if I need a female voice on the Quiet Storm station. So hit me up. Hit me up.
He got them boots on the ground.
Sure, they get them boots on the ground.
Yes.
Don't get me started, because I was trying to warm down. I was trying to warm down. But look, how you say you got your boots on the ground when you when I don't know, your boots look like they might be stuck in some mud.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Yes.
boots do get stuck in mud,
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. If you linger too long.
Yep, you linger too long.
Gotta pick them up and put them down. Pick them up and put them down.
I'm trying to tell you. So now the thing about it is that it was said, this was said, that Angie was going to put Shanna out of her house as soon as she got back.
I heard that. I heard that as well.
She was out of there. She was about to be out of there, and now she's all in the midst of the estate and everything. Angie Stone never meant for that to happen. She never intended for Shannon to be in that position.
Yeah.
But she had Michael to do that probate so she can get up in there with the money.
Wow. Ooh.
That's just the way I feel about it, allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly. Yeah. Well, Tony, again, I told you whatever you decide to do, I'll stand right by you.
Well, we
and
are we are turning those documents over to investigators.
mhm. And
We are.
that's basically what she's she said, let the authorities handle it. So that's what you can do is
Yeah, we're doing that. There's a meeting set up,
mhm.
and yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yep.
So
Anything to help this Angie Stone situation,
absolutely.
I have to.
Matter of fact, you know what? I've got an even better idea than stating your story. I would like for everybody that has a story connected to Angie Stone in particular. If
Hmm.
you have anything that you could speak about in terms of how her music affected your life, how certain songs um, had an impact, I always tell it that, No More Rain took me out of a real dark place. And that's one of my most effective testimonies without going into great detail. But everybody has a story. Everybody in this room, I'm almost willing to bank on that you have an Angie Stone story that hopefully you would like to share with us. So what I'm going to do is I think I've already copied the link, so I'm going to put it back in the chat. And if anybody, one person, the first person that comes up on this link will be front and center. Okay? Because we don't
Hmm.
want people talking over each other or anything like that. I want to prevent that from happening tonight because I want everybody to be heard. So, let's see. Gloria Perry said, Tony, can you flash your face on screen for birthday one more time?
It's all they gotta do is go to my page and they'll see it.
Gloria, did you see that? Did you hear that? He said, all you got to do is go to his page. Hi, Jada Moon. How are you, love? So shoot, maybe if I click, I just half did it. Okay, there we go. I put the link in the chat. If
Hmm.
there's anybody in the chat that would like to come up and give their story of how Angie or her music had any kind of impact on your life, now is the time to put it down. Put it down. Put it down in stone.
Hmm.
Y'all caught that. Put it down in stone. Let's see. Annette Jones said Shayna knew this, that she. Wait. So Jana knew this. That way she moving the way she is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's
I
yeah.
know somebody got something to say about my girl Angie. All that music she put out there. Angie didn't get to tell the names that she said she knew who was stealing her royalties. So sad.
But
No
we
more
was telling them
in her
for
clown.
we telling them for her though.
Yes. I don't know if Ruby, have you been listening to Tony's live streams? Because he's dropped the names. Faith is all we need, basically said it, Tony.
Huh?
In a nutshell. Faith is all we need, basically said exactly, you know.
Oh, most definitely. And
Yes,
faith
that's
is
it.
all you need. That's what I 10,000% believe.
Yeah.
I have done. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. Diva King said, brother, that's your song? I know that's right.
Yep.
BLA said at Carlos, there may be something to Shayna holding something over their heads. Possibly.
Possibly.
Jada Moon said, thank you for your videos. Okay. But now can we move a little bit to another section of the Angie Stone sector and celebrate this woman? There's more to Angie Stone than the story that we're covering. She had a life. She had a vibrant life that was full of talent, full of everything that she could give to us. She gave herself to us through her music, and I know y'all felt that. If you didn't, you wouldn't be here. I would hope you wouldn't be here. If you're here just to hear a crime novel, or something to talk about, it's more than just entertainment. This was a woman that gave herself to the world, and I believe she's entitled to more than being talked about in terms of her demise and what happened to her in terms of her royalties, because there was more to her life than that. There was way more to her life than that. Her music was more important than anything else. Yes, it's her royalties were very important. Her life was very important, but what made her who she was is what she brought to all of us, and we were her fans.
I'm gonna hit you from the car, okay?
Okay.
I gotta take Jago and
Okay.
both of us eat right quick.
Okay. Get him some chicken.
No, not today.
Get him some chicken.
All right.
Okay. Okay, Diva King says, does anyone have a picture of Shayna Shell? What she look like? She may be my neighbor. I saw a picture of her on Paperwork Party, but I don't know exactly where you would find it there. My song by Angie, Pissed Off. You like that song? Avnini 916. Hey, Benjamin. How are you, love? Yes, Google her name. Thank you, Rachel. My brain ain't really going where it should be. Miss J said my cousin introduced me. You know what? I'm gonna stop reading. I'm gonna put it up there. My cousin introduced me to Angie's Black Diamond album. My cousin was killed in 2010, and Angie's music reminds me of her and our good times together. That's the kind of story I'm talking about, Miss J. Those are the kind of stories that we need to hear. She reminded us that she was a blueprint to our lives, especially people of my time frame, our era, up in our 60s, early 60s, even late 50s. She had the blueprint to our lives in some cases. Jada Moon said Miss Angie was a wonderful woman and artist. She was a strong woman. She was a creative spirit, mom and grandmother. Yes, she was. Absolutely. Let's see. LaWanda Jackson said, I loved Angie poise and her gratitude towards people. She loved everybody no matter what and gave her all to help everybody. That's it. That's it. Oh, good. Millionaires Cove is here. Hello, my love.
Hi.
Hi, honey.
Good evening, everybody. How everybody doing today?
Doing wonderful.
That's wonderful. I just came on just a quick second.
Okay.
I love Angie Stone. I've been following her since she came out with her first album. But my favorite.
Uh-oh. Did we lose you, sweetheart? Millionaires Cove? Did you get disconnected from us? Millionaire, why don't you jump out and come back up, and we'll try this again. Looks like she might have been disconnected. I'm going to put the link in the chat again. Because I think she was going to have something good to say. Hi, QT. Oh, she up here twice. Okay, let me add you. You there, babe? Okay, let me remove that one and add this one. Are
Can
you
you
there,
hear me?
sweetheart? Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't know what happened.
It has you up here twice, so
Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know.
I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. I don't want to touch it. I
Oh,
hear
okay.
you.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
But I was just saying at that particular time, that was one of the songs that resonated with me because I was going through a turbulent relationship. And when she wrote Pissed Off, that was it resonated with my spirit and it gave me the strength to like really move on past that situation.
Absolutely.
And I ever since then it was like, okay, this girl right here got, I mean, her neo soul swag was on point. All of her music, taking everything in. And the other song was the one that she had with Denzel Washington's wife.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mm.
So Happy Being Me.
Uh-huh.
That's the song that she wrote. If you haven't heard, you need to listen to it.
Now, which
She got a song with
album was that
Denzel
on?
Washington's wife. It's called
Right.
Happy Being Me.
Uh-huh.
It
I
is
remember
very,
hearing about that song, but I don't know what album it was from.
I think it's
Uh-oh. What happened again, boo? Okay, Miss Sweet says, my phone got water damage. I get my new one Thursday, but I'm using this one for now. It's me, honey. Hi, honey bunny, honey. How you doing, girl?
huh?
Oh, I was talking to one of my mods. Okay, you dropped out for just a second. Can you back up a little bit? I think you stopped at, you were telling us about the song that she did with Denzel's wife.
Yes, it's called Happy Being Me. I'm not for sure if it's on the Love and War album or I know it's not on the Mahogany Soul. I think it's on the Love and War if I'm not mistaken. I think it's
Okay.
like towards the end. It's a very. I mean, she just talking about so happy being me. She wouldn't trade nothing.
Right.
About being herself. It's very nice. So those are like I think maybe my two favorite songs. I love all her albums, but those two because sometimes people can make you think you're not
Feel.
good enough or you don't look
Exactly.
good enough. But you're just happy
Exactly.
being you.
Yep.
And you wouldn't trade it. Because God made you, so you just have to embrace it. So it's a
Exactly.
very beautiful song. So if you haven't heard it, just listen to it. It's very nice.
Yeah,
I
and
just
you know
want to
what?
say,
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It's actually quite ironic that you said that because the industry really did do her an injustice because she didn't fit a certain mold that
yeah,
they perceived people to be. But
yeah,
she had the talent above and beyond anybody that was their version of beautiful,
yes. I'm gonna
because
miss her
beautiful.
voice. I'm gonna miss it.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
miss her
I
music.
fell out when I found out she wrote and sang Girlfriends, and that was one of my favorite TV
Oh,
shows.
oh yes, I used to watch that all the time, girl. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. It didn't sound familiar, and then when
Yeah.
I finally looked it up, and one of my friends said, "That's Angie Stone." I said, "No, it's not." So when I did look it up, they did. Her name was the credit if that wrote that. That was
Right.
singing it rather. I don't know if
Right.
she wrote it, but more like she may have had her hands in on that part of
Oh
writing.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
But
I'm
yeah,
gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss her voice because she was a powerhouse, and she wrote about life things that was dealing with life pertaining to different situations with the brothers, you
yeah,
know, lifting them up. Because a lot of the brothers don't get lifted up. We always getting torn down. By our
absolutely.
own people, but just having someone say, "Hey, I see you. I see what you're doing. I appreciate what you're doing. You know,
Hmm.
I love you. I'm thanking you for what that you're bringing to us sisters or whoever
Yeah.
they may be dating or around. So just missing the positivity that she brought is it's gonna be a pill to swallow because I still think about like, gosh, I ain't got but these, she got quite a few albums, but listening to some new music would have been, a blessing on top of what she's already blessed us with. So, and then and her family and friends missing that as well. People that was buying her stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
it's a
tell
hard
you.
pill to swallow. I just keep thinking about like I just can't believe this is real.
I
I like
know.
Angie Stone, not Angie Stone. Quiet, Angie
I
Stone.
know.
It doesn't seem real. Even though I know the funeral, it just haven't hit me that it's really, really,
Mhm.
really real.
Yeah.
But God knows best, and He's gonna work.
Absolutely.
He's gonna work it out. But at least we have the music that she's left, so that's part of her legacy. We just keep playing and planning, and maybe the family get paid off for the music that's still playing. Hopefully everything will get squared away so they can get the money that's due to them
Right.
coming in from the music because she has some
Right.
awesome songs. So
Absolutely. Diva King, she said that song Happy Being Me was the song for her when the industry was saying horrible things about her looks.
hmm
That is spot on. That is once again we get back to the subject of the industry, and not just the music industry but entertainment as a whole.
yeah,
Um,
it's
they
a beautiful
they
song.
yeah, they put people in a box, and you're supposed to identify with that box they put you in, but that ain't God's box. That's
Yeah.
man's box.
That's why I
And
tell people, be careful when you're trying to get out in the industry because you never know what you're getting into. A lot of people get out there and sell their souls to the devil for the money,
that's
the fame and
right.
the glory. But the same way you get it be the same way you lose it. So
That's
you go in and let God move you through the industry like you're supposed to be moved, and then what
mhm,
you get, you're gonna keep it because man can't take it. He can't touch it. But when you
that's right.
selling your soul to the devil for that money and to get you up there, you never know how long you're gonna keep up. What you got to go through to maintain it.
And you know
But
what? I'm glad you said that because unfortunately, and I'm just going to have to put it out there, a lot of our gospel singers are doing just that.
yeah, I've been
In the
hearing about
name
it.
of Lord, in the name of God, and you're selling yourself out to
Yeah,
sing God's music, and it's blasphemy. I'm
yeah,
sorry. That's
yeah. That's
just
what it
the way I
is.
look at it. It's straight up blasphemy. And again, it turns into a situation of the almighty dollar. How
But
much money can I make? Yes.
the teachers, you're giving the scriptures and you're reading, you're telling the story of God, and
Hmm.
it's blasphemy. But He says the ones that are out here that are using his words in vain, or teaching the word through his music or through the Bible, through the pulpit, those are the
Yes,
ones that he hold of a high accountable for. You
exactly.
can't play with that. So when you're doing it, you better be serious about it
That's
because you're
right.
going to have to answer to that, and that comes with a penalty with him. He don't play with that.
No.
But when people that think of the Bible is something to play with, and you out here trying to get the money, and everybody, it's nothing wrong with you being rich. I don't have a problem with you having the money,
Hmm.
but do it in a godly way, dignified.
Right.
Don't sell yourself out here to have it because God can give you more than what man can ever offer you.
Exactly. And
He
I
can
I
give you
I
more.
agree. I agree with you because I don't know. I've always believed that worshiping God, believing in God, and serving God is not a career. It's a it's a mandate. It's a mandate on our lives. Whether you get paid or not, this is something that we should be doing, not just because we getting paid to do it. And
Yeah,
that's where it really gets really muddy. The waters get really muddy because a lot of preachers are going into the ministry because it pays well. A lot of singers are going into uh, record deals singing gospel music because it pays well. And it's like, well, what are you going to do when you take the money away? Are you going to stop serving him? Are you going to stop preaching the word? Are you going to stop singing the word?
And those who wants you'll find out if they're really real or not. Because my church, my pastor doesn't take a salary. He has his own business. He still works every day.
Mm-hmm.
He does. He said he always told God, you know, if he blesses his business, his business that he's already had, he wouldn't take a salary. He didn't need a salary. And he says God has honored that. And he doesn't take anything. He don't even want you to give him offering. He don't want you to recognize his birthday, give him pastor offerings, recognition, none of that. He's strictly by what the Bible says. He don't, even though some of our deacons or reverends may come up and say, hey, this pastor birthday, you want to do blah, 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 blah. He don't like us to do that. He don't need anything. He's our biggest tither at that church. From his own business, he doesn't take anything, period. But, when God has blessed you, you can, be able to do things. You don't have to worry about, taking things from the church. But, if people are doing things right and you're doing what God has called you to do, because I don't know, I'm not a pastor. I don't know what the conversation with the pastors and what God has told them, that's between them. But as long as you do it right, because, you still have to answer to God when it's all said and done. So I go to church, I go get my word, get my spiritual feeding. I do my tithing, and I'm a praise dance leader. So I do my duties. I serve in 3 ministry in my church. And after I do that, I beeline to the door. Out that door, I go.
Okay.
I don't sit around because it's people gossip in the church and they talk and they play around in your face because you got devils up in there. The biggest devils be up in the house of God.
Let me tell you.
So you got to know.
Wife, I know for real.
You got to know.
I have had to set many a women, plural, straight, and I did it right behind the pulpit. And now I'm not a preacher, but there's something about I'm not going to say all young single men, women in the church are after the preacher. I'm not saying that, but we got some in there that are strictly after that man behind the pulpit. They don't care what he looked like. They don't care what he act like. They don't care nothing. They just
want the money. They see that. They see him the money. They want what he got. Oh, he could take care of me. Oh, I'm gonna be the first lady. Oh, I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna have you. That's they looking at that facade there.
Then they look at it as a means of power, and what they fail to realize is that power that you perceive in that man is the power of God, and what you're looking at doesn't want you in that respect. God don't operate like that. So you're chasing the wrong power.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So many years ago, my husband, he accepted his calling. He ran. Yes, he did. He ran for several years, and he finally accepted his calling in, I believe, 1993. He accepted his calling in 1993, and we started a small church. It was called Greater Love Christian Faith Center, and it was a little family church. In retrospect, I must admit that we jumped the gun. We started too soon. We wasn't ready. Okay. But, you live and learn. But I recall there were a few women in that church that were just really blatantly being disrespectful, pushing up on my husband and stuff like that. And I would just laugh. I would just look at her like, and then one day I said, you know what? Just get up there and set the record straight.
Wow.
And I went up there and I said to all of you who seem to have your panties in a bunch for my husband, and you know who you are, you can have him. If you can get him, you can have him. Question is, can you keep him? That's all I had to say. And it stopped. It suddenly stopped. Because I'm not going to argue and fight nobody over no man.
But it's called the chase of the three or the chill of the thrace. Chill. I mean the thrill of the chase. I mean the chase. As long as they are chasing him, it's good, but as soon as they get them or get her, they don't want it anymore
Right.
because the thrill is gone.
Thrill
My
is gone.
friend, I used to go to her before I joined my church. I used to go to my best friend's church,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a family church, and they had the pastor there, and when I say a very, very, very nice looking man,
Mm-hmm.
pastor,
Mm-hmm.
older guy, very nice,
Uh-huh.
very distinguished. And I used to ask, I said, where's his wife? I said, she's not, he was married. And they said, she said, girl, he ran, the women in here was chasing him so bad. And they was so bold to come up into his face in front of her and
Mm-hmm.
flaunting and doing all kinds of stuff.
Testimonies.
She ended up leaving the church because it was
Mm.
just so much going on, because the family of the church, they was all in it. So they, it wasn't, really wasn't what they could just tell them to, you know, hey, that's not appropriate. You need to stop doing that. They just
Right.
didn't care. So she left
Right.
the church I think she said she was gone for maybe about 2 years, 3 years. She left.
Mm.
She joined another church, and he would always come up on the pulpit. He said, there's nothing in here that I want. I love my
Mm.
wife. And he said, I'm praying that eventually God would bring her back. And I think right before I got ready to join my church where I'm at now, she ended up coming back
Mm-hmm.
to the church.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just so much. She said it was just so much going on that she just said she couldn't take it. So she had to distance herself from that whole congregation. She ended up going somewhere else and getting the word while he preached there at that church.
Uh-huh.
And I said that was so sad. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because, see, me and my husband have been together since we were 15. And, I must admit, he's got an identical twin brother. And they were very popular in the Seattle area. Barry and Larry, the twins. And they dressed sharp all the time. They never wore jeans, tennis shoes. They were, back in the 70s, the John Travolta look. They kind of started that. I think they did that before John Travolta. But they were always put together wonderfully. And, girls flocked to them. And I'll be honest with you, we were young and we weren't committed to each other in the sense of, boyfriend and girlfriend. You can't see somebody and I can't see somebody. But we're talking about two very handsome brothers that could have anybody they wanted. And they knew it. Now, baby, if you in the chat, I'm just gonna have to tell on you. But he tells his story too. He tells his story too. So, we, like I said before, we all have a past and we've all been young. And, when you're a young man and you've got it thrown at you all the time, chances are you're going to take the bait every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what these women were seeing once he had taken his place in the ministry, when he accepted his calling. They couldn't get their mind off of that old Barry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They couldn't get their mind off of that old Barry, so they figured, well, I'll come to the church and I'll get him. I'll get him. I couldn't get him before, but I'll get him this time because maybe I done lost some weight or, they're a little older, that kind of thing. And it just got to the point where I'm like, do these heifers not know? I don't understand it. But it got to the point where they really did not understand that this man had accepted his calling and he wasn't down for that nonsense. But they might as well have took their drawers off and threw it in the air. That's how blatant they were with it, And so many pastors today and back in those days were quick to go for for the okey doke, wife or no wife, because they were still human. So
Yeah.
a lot of women take that for granted that, these men have feelings and, if I do it well enough, they'll come my way. But sometimes as a first lady, you just got to put your foot down and say, look, you can try if you want to.
Yeah.
And
That's
if you get
true.
him, If you can get him, you can have him. I don't want nobody that don't want me.
Yeah.
First and foremost. And you can't have me and somebody else too. Let's make that perfectly clear.
Yeah, don't need to be fighting over somebody. People
Exactly.
gonna do
I'm
what
not
they want to
fighting.
do. You don't have time to be fighting. And
I
by
ain't
that
got
time,
the
you should be
time.
grown enough to know
Mhm.
what you want.
That's right. But I let all them women in that church know, if you can get him, you can have him. But the question is, can you keep him? Drop the mic. No more problems.
Oh my goodness! I know that was like people's mouth was wide open.
Well, first of all, you see my skin tone, right? A lot of people took that for granted and saying, "What this old white girl talking about?" First of all, you really don't know who you talking to, because this is just a outer shell of what's inside of me. I was raised just as black as anybody else in this church, if not blacker. So please don't test the waters. And back then I wasn't as refined as I am now. I'll be honest with you. I
Yeah.
wasn't as refined.
So
I
let the
I
chips
get with
fall where
you.
they may.
I get with you. I get with you. And I'm not proud of it, but I done got with a couple right outside the church house. So God forgave me for that. But yeah, in my younger days, I had to set a couple women straight, and sometimes, when you put your hands on me, I have to lay hands on you in return.
Amen.
And it is not in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. It's in the name of my foot, my fist, and something else that I'm swinging. So, but yeah, we have that problem even today. I'm not saying that I do or my husband does, but I see it happen in the church so much. And it's really unfortunate because I, like your pastor, my husband has a full-time job all day. He don't take us. He does get an expense account in terms of paying for his gas and stuff because he's an associate pastor. He doesn't have a salary, you
Yeah.
know. And beside that, he works. I mean, he works full time and he helps me here in my business. So he ain't got time for no shenanigans. Plus, he pastors on whenever he's called upon. It ain't just a weekend job. A lot of these
Yeah.
people are calling on him more than they call on the senior pastor,
Yep.
because the senior pastor is got other aspirations like running for office, stuff like that. You know, if you're gonna be in this thing, you need to be in it for the right reasons. That's all I can say. I came from a time where pastors worked jobs. They worked jobs. The church was not their career. It was a calling, and it's a big difference, you know.
I'm gonna ask my pastor when I talk to him again. What do you think about pastor that makes ministry out of a career? I don't know because I've never really thought about it. I just
Mhm.
I never really thought about that. I just thought maybe it's something that God had done. I'm gonna ask him because he doesn't. He works. He travels overseas. He
Uh-huh.
travels with his job, so he he doesn't take a salary. So I'm gonna ask him what he thinks about it.
Right.
I sure am, and stuff. But I just say, whatever, whatever. If they're not there between God, they have to answer to God
That's right.
about that. So
That's
you
right.
know,
That's
I don't know,
absolutely right.
just do things right in decency and order. God is of
Yep.
order. He likes order. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything is done decently and in
yes,
order. There is
so,
no half stepping.
you know,
So,
I
that's
mean, you're
where
not going to be perfect, but once you step off the curb, you need to align yourself back up on that curb and do it right.
that's right. Walk
Once
by faith
we're not
and not
perfect.
by
You just got
sight.
to, continue to keep walking that walk to be able to do things the way he wants you to do it. And no, you're not going to do it right all the time, but
Right.
just keep pressing. Don't keep making the same mistakes over and over and over
Right.
again. And that's
Right.
what upsets him. You just can't, keep doing that. But
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really all about how you treat your fellow man too.
yeah,
You can't put yourself up on a pedestal.
well,
And
you got a lot of them
that's
that do that,
a lot of them are doing that. It's really sad.
and they flaunt it too, and don't care if you know about it. Mm.
I'm telling and again, I didn't want to make this about my stories or anything because I got stories about the church that would break your heart. But a lot of you probably saw some of those Mother Jones skits that I do in my videos. I do those because it's like I pay homage to my grandmother who raised me, and she loved the Lord. Oh my God. I've never known anyone to love the Lord more than her. And her name was Mother Jones. I was raised in the Kojic Church. So for those of you who know the Kojic Church, especially back in the 60s and 70s, very, very strict in terms of, wearing
Mm-hmm.
pants and
Yep,
makeup and stuff like that.
yep,
That just wasn't allowed.
it wasn't.
Um, But my grandmother was the oldest woman in the church. She was the mother of the church. And the way that she was treated by the pastor and his wife were crazy. I just, to this day, I don't see how. I really hope and pray that those two individuals really repented for the things that they did, not just to my grandmother, but other people,
In the
because
church.
it was, and I was a child and recognized it. So can you imagine? I mean, let me just give you a little story. Just a short story. And this is what made me leave this church. I was 12 years old when I left that church. I was there since I was 6 months old. Now, our church moved from the community that I was living in to a further off community, which is pretty far from what they call the central area in Seattle. It was the predominantly black area back in the 60s and 70s. And it was the red line district, if you guys are familiar with how they used to have red line districts where um, black people could only purchase homes or get mortgages financed through banks within this red lined area. Anything outside of that, you couldn't get a home. They wouldn't sell it to you. And our pastor at the time uh, decided to move the church into a church which was considered to be a white church. It was much bigger in a white neighborhood, far, far away from our homes in terms of our community. And most of the people, if not all of the people, for the exception of my grandmother, had a car. So she was dependent on others to get to church. And one particular evening, my grandmother was waiting for the pastor's wife to come pick her up because they were having that pastor and wife's anniversary. You know that thing.
Mm-hmm.
They have the all week, everybody get together all week long and let's lavish the pastor and his wife with gifts and money and all that stuff. And my grandmother had gone and purchased a purse for the first lady. And my grandmother was on a fixed income. She was getting a portion of my grandfather's Social Security, and he was still working. So it wasn't like she was getting a lot of money, but she would often raise money within, just out of our house for the church. She would get things donated to her from stores, shoe stores, clothing stores. They would donate these items to her, and she would sell them out of our basement and give all the money to the church. That's how
Mm-hmm.
dedicated she was. So the pastor's wife didn't show up to pick her up for this one particular service. So my grandmother got on the bus, and I'll just say my grandmother was somewhat naive. Some would even say she might be slow. And it didn't occur to me at that time because I was young. I didn't know any better. But She got on that bus and she got lost. And we couldn't find her. We couldn't find her nowhere. Me and my grandmother and my father were livid. We didn't know where she was. She was lost. She never made it to the church.
Oh, wow.
And she had to catch a bus from our house to downtown Seattle and transfer to another bus that goes out to an even further area. And we were just livid because by this time it's dark. It's dark outside. And I'm crying. I'm like, where's my mama? Where's my mama? And my dad is there and he's like, let's get in the car and look for her. And I'm like, no, somebody needs to stay here and I can't stay here by myself. So daddy, you go look for her and me and grandpa, we gonna stay here. Finally, she came home in tears. It was about 10 o'clock that night. That was not a time that my grandmother was ever out of the house, unless she, of course, was in someone's car coming home from church. But for her to catch a bus and get lost. And I tell you all this to say this. While she was missing, the pastor's wife finally showed up an hour late to pick her up. And that's the reason why she left in the first place. The pastor's wife was supposed to pick her up and she didn't show up. So my grandmother got on a bus. This was her dedication to this church and dedication to the pastor and his wife. That's why I always felt you don't dedicate yourself to people because they will let you down. It don't matter who they are and what position they hold. They will always let you down at some point in time. You have got to rely on God and nobody else. And my grandmother got on that bus and got lost. And she got back at 10 o'clock, still holding this purse in her hand. But the pastor's wife had come by while she was gone. And we told her, well, she's left already. And, she's already on her way. So she went on and went to church. And the following 2 days, I think it was 2 days passed, and we went to church on Sunday, because this was on a Friday night. We went to church on Sunday, and the pastor asked my grandmother, well, where were you at Friday night? And she told her story. And you know what this man told her? That's what you get. You should have waited.
Wow.
First of all, she was his elder. He wasn't her elder. He was the pastor, but she was his elder as an older woman. And for him to fix his mouth to say that to an older woman who anything could have happened to her. And all you could come up with is, that's what you get. You should have waited. You should have waited for my wife. I was done.
Wow.
I was done. I ain't gonna say what later on down the line that man and that woman went through in life, but I will say this: God don't like ugly and ain't too fond of pretty.
Fond of pretty. Yep. And maybe that's probably why he allowed them to go through things, because he probably they was doing people the wrong way or talking to them like they was beneath them.
Less them.
You get people up,
Yes.
people get upscale and they come in with their fancy hats and their sharp suits and things on, and they thinking that they looking at you like,
Yeah.
I'm wearing a money. I'm in Brooks Brothers suits, and
Right.
but is your heart right? Is your heart right?
Exactly. My grandmother shopped at thrift stores. She didn't have money like that. She shopped out of thrift stores. And the pastor and his wife, they shopped at Frederick and Nelson and I. Magnin, all the big department stores of that day. So, they had it going on. Very educated man and his wife, and they're running a school out of what used to be the church. They had a Bible academy, and I used to attend that Bible academy until he told me I was dumb. That should have been the first. That should have been the first sign. I said, Reverend Blank, How come I didn't get a piece of candy on my paper? I was 5 years old. I was the lightest thing in the whole school. Okay. I said, Reverend, how come I didn't get a piece of candy on my paper? Because I would see all the kids when they get their paper back, they would get a piece of caramel penny candy on their paper. And one day I got up the nerve to ask him why I didn't get a piece of candy. And you know what he told me? 'Cause you dumb.
So they was in the ministry for the wrong reasons anyway.
They was charging people $100 a head back in the 60s to go to that school. That wasn't no cheap tuition for black people
Sure
back then.
was. That's a lot. Wow.
When I got home and I told my grandmother picked me up because the church was just a block and a half away. And she would come and pick me up and we would walk home. And that particular day I was crying and she asked me why I was crying. She thought maybe I had gotten another whooping at school because they didn't have a problem whooping me. They never told my grandmother why they would whoop me. They would whoop me for reasons like running on the playground or falling on a step, real stupid reasons. And I didn't know that there was something wrong with that. I just thought that was just part of growing up. People whoop you when you do what they perceive to be wrong. But when I told her what that man said to me, her face just turned I don't know what to say, it like turned to stone. And she immediately went and told my grandfather. And my grandfather wasn't in the church. Neither was my father. And it was all my grandmother could do to beg them
not to go up to the church
there, or his house, because he didn't live far from our house either. She begged him, please, don't, because Daddy had a pow, and so did Grandpa, and they was ready to use it. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's not the thing to do. My grandmother, she was a very spiritual woman, and she didn't have a lot of words, but she was very spiritual and very faithful to the Lord. So I tell that story because a lot of people, they give reverence to clergy sometimes too much. And we have to remember that they're still just men and women nowadays. Back then it was just men. They didn't allow women back then to serve in the pulpit. But man, I say all that to say that, you know what, know who you labor with. Know who you labor with. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to bring this chat down, but this is a story that needed to be heard. Just like Angie had stories, I'm sure. I'm sure some of you have stories too that you would like to tell or you'd like to keep close to you. But just like Don said, man will fail you. God won't. Benjamin says, Auntie, did you ever feel prejudice in the reverse because you were light? It happens, It's hard to admit. Absolutely, Benjamin. I grew up in what they call the CD, and I was the little white girl on the block because I'm biracial. But I was raised by my black family. I did not know my mother. I did not know my mother's mother. I didn't know anything about my mother's side of the family. So I didn't identify with the white side of my family. I only identified with the people that raised me, and that was my father, grandfather, and grandmother, my father's parents. That's all I knew. So that's what I identified with. But I did have a lot of problems growing up in the hood, looking like the little white girl, And unfortunately, my grandparents, they came up in a time where, You know, the lighter the better. You know, you might want to just pass for white so you can get better, you know, have more opportunities in life. And, you know, I just wasn't feeling that I had to be disobedient at that point. No, don't ask me to be ashamed of who I am, because you're asking me to be ashamed of you, and I'm not ashamed of you. So, yeah, in all answering to your question, that was definitely a big thing. I had more prejudice coming from white people, actually, than I did black people. Black people, I will always be able to say that black people culturally have always been the nurturers. They always nurture. They did it through slavery. They did it through the civil rights movement. They've always taken in everybody and loved on them. You know what I'm saying? You know, the maids. You remember that movie, The Help, with Viola Davis? She played a maid, and in that time, you know, your average job of a woman, a black woman, would be a maid working for a prominent white family, or not so prominent, but enough to, you know, we'll let them take care of cleaning the house and cooking our meals. But they were always having to raise those children. It's just something about black women and men, but black women have always been the ones to just take them. Don't matter what color they are, don't matter what they look like, don't matter where they came from. They would wrap their arms around them children and raise them, with or without the parents. So I thank God I came from who I came from. I'm proud from where I came from, and I stand 10 toes down. I always will. So, again, everybody's got a story. And if you'd like to come and share yours, you're free to do so. Let's see. You got disconnected, sweetheart. Let me see. Wait, where did you go? We got disconnected. Someone else can come up. Okay. Does anyone else want to come up? I'm going to put the link in the chat, and I will continue reading some of these posts here until somebody wants to say something on the platform. Let me go up a little bit. Elizabeth said, that's something else that bothers me about the church is no pants for women, alcohol, boyfriends, just husbands. Humans make mistakes. Well, see, that's the part I didn't understand either, because how do you get a husband until you meet your boyfriend? Shouldn't he be a boyfriend first? I mean, nobody says you got to sleep around and all that stuff, but I mean, it's just common sense. If you're looking for a husband, you don't just jump into the aisle and say I do. You know, you've got to meet that right man. And I don't know, sometimes churches can, I know the ones in the past were really a bit too strict. Now it's almost like some of these churches have flip-flopped and turned into the complete opposite. You know, I think that, you know, every woman, I can only speak for women because that's what I am. Come as you are, but use some plain and common sense too. You know, we don't need you to come to church in booty shorts or skirts with your, you know, thing showing. That thing, that back it up thing, you know. And when they do, it's up to the mothers and older women of the church to gently take those young ladies to the side and tell them, sweetheart, that's not how you want to come to church. Let me help you. You know, take her to the store, buy her something, you know, something to wear appropriate. Or if you can't afford it, just Find something at your house that would be appropriate for that young lady, but you don't belittle them, because that's what causes church hurt. You know, I know we're all human and we make mistakes, but dadgummit, you ain't gotta hurt the people that are coming for help. They're coming for if not advice, they're coming for hope. And if you come to the church for hope, that's what you should be offering. So I just think that a lot of the churches nowadays have kind of drawn away from what church is really about. It's a church house, yes, but it's a hospital. We all sick. It's a hospital for the spirit. It's a hospital for the soul. You go to church to get well. Y'all feel me? We go to get well. And sometimes some are better off than others. But whatever the case may be, we go to church to be healed. It's a hospital. Diva King, thank you so much, Auntie Mickey, for your real, honest, and realness. God hears you. When you speak truth, he knows your name. If nobody else does, respect God's house, the church of God, the chosen. Amen. That's your heart. When you change just a little bit, then you will be blessed with clothes. Amen. The church is the hospital. Exactly. Exactly, Tawana. They got all them sheets and towels. Just cover them up. You ain't got to scold them and belittle them in front of other people. And then you wonder why they don't come back. That young lady's soul is on your hands if she turns around and goes out there and never comes back to Christ. Not the church house, but to Christ. The blood is on your hands. So, I didn't mean to get so deep. I'm sorry. But it just kind of fell out my mouth. I wanted us to, in the spirit of Angie, to just share some stories that we may have gone through in our life that can maybe help someone else that's dealing with certain things, or, just share, because that's what we're supposed to do as brothers and sisters in Christ. And like I said before, I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not a preacher. I'm not none of that. But I know who my Redeemer is. And I'm not ashamed to say it. And I'm human. I got a bad side to me sometime. I don't want people to see it. And I try my best not to show it. LT says, I've heard many horror stories about the Kojic Church, mostly allegations about people in power sleeping with boys and men, and affairs with women and unclaimed children. It's so sad. Bingo, LT. Yeah, that preacher I just told you about that said I was dumb, 40 years later got sued by a student who was going to that academy around the same time as me. 40 years later. Yeah. So, all that glitters ain't gold. Diva King said, I used to love to go to church because we had testimony service telling the goodness of the Lord. I don't need no praise team. I can praise him. God sees us all. Amen. But out of all honesty, I do like seeing the praise team. I love praise dancing. But yeah, any way that God gives you to praise him, do so. Because it's all a gift. It's all a gift. I feel extremely bad because I once had a gift and I let it go. I didn't take I didn't cherish my gift. I didn't take my gift seriously. And one day I went to church and boom, it was gone. Thank you, Diane. Oh, goodness. Tawana said, I have seen so many in my own church, and we went through 3 preachers. I had to get married at my husband's church because mine did not have a pastor. Ain't that something? Now that's something right there. That's something right there. You got to go to somebody else's church because your church can't maintain a pastor. There's something to be said about that. I don't know what to say, but it's definitely something to be said about it. But it's the times that we living in. People are going into the ministry for the wrong reasons. I'm not saying all of them. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all of them. Yes, LT, justice for Angie Stone. I'm sure she had stories as well. I wish that we could have been able to sit by and just listen to some of them, because I'm sure she had plenty. You know, people judge you from your outside instead of your inside. But they'll take what you have inside if it benefits them. You know what I'm saying? It's a shame how the industry treated her. It really is. So I know that she's in heaven, and I know she's at peace. I believe she's at peace because she loved the Lord. Absolutely. Yes, protected by God. God will expose you in his set time. He sure will. Thank you, LT. And you know what? Don't be sorry, because it was all a learning experience. I needed to go through that just to understand who I belong to. Angie's favorite book is Job. Okay, now that I never knew that. I never knew that. That's good to know. Hello, Luscious L. My blue Luscious L with the wrench. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Well, I'm going to offer one last time if anybody would like to come up and share a story or anything of that nature in the honor of Angie, because again, we're still honoring Angie Stone. She had a story, just like each one of us have a story. And we still have the ability to tell our story. She doesn't have that ability right now. She's up in heaven with the Lord. She's in a much better place, a place that many of us, if we had an opportunity right now to choose, if we had to look here and had 5 seconds to make a decision, or boom, you're gone. I know where we're going. We're going to heaven. I know I would. Faith said it's all a gift, but don't sell yourself out. Don't use your gift for your business. Just don't be bought and do anything for money. Exactly. That money, boy, the love of money. It ain't the money that's the root. It's the love of the money that's the root of all evil. So, one more time, I'm going to put the link in the chat. If anybody would like to come forward and give a little story, you can do so. We got 15 minutes left in this live stream. Yes, Diva King, always keep God with you. I look forward to seeing it, LT. LT said, I'll come up and speak one day. You take your time whenever you're ready. Yes. So let's see, we got about 15 minutes left before this live stream ends. And I'm going to give it a few more minutes. If anybody wants to come up, I'll give it a couple more minutes. And if nobody comes, then we'll just end it earlier. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm tired. I'm hungry and I'm tired. And I've been talking a lot for the last 2 hours. So, Too bad Tony ain't here, because then he could fill in for me a little bit with the talking aspect. But see, didn't I tell y'all? Tony don't know how to return the phone call. He don't know when to come back. Okay, Faith is in the backstage. Hello, Faith.
Well, hello, Auntie. How are you?
I am doing just ducky.
Well,
How are
good.
you?
I'm doing ducky too.
Ducky quack quack.
Well, I want to give a story, and I want to give my story about what's going on with Angie Stone in this
Okay.
whole ring.
Mhm.
Her songs, when I listen to them, and it's many of them, it's like she was singing what was going on with her through the industry.
Right.
And in those last videos, the one particular where she had that pink, the pink dress on, I mean, the pink shirt on, when she was calling out all the names of the people that were helping her with, her royalties and everything.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that one. You can kind of tell by looking through the videos that she was leaving hints, and she probably didn't know, because that probably was the Holy Spirit leaving the hints.
Yeah.
For us to pick up on.
Absolutely.
And just the information that she had left, and that Tony Stone and paperwork and picked up,
Uh-huh.
and kind of putting this all together.
Yes.
I truly believe it's bigger than what we think it is.
It is.
And
I'm sure of it. Yes.
and just from what I've seen a lot of things that's happening in families that they don't even understand that is happening with these insurance policies.
Right. Hold on just a second, Faith.
Okay.
Crystal, thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it. She said, watch the interview with Cam Newton and Angie Stone. She talks about the book of Job. Will do, sweetheart. Okay, honey, go ahead.
With these insurance policies, and what it'll do, it'll open your eyes to a lot of things that
Yes.
we didn't know that was going on. And it'll help you to, what's going on in this community. I stated in the chat that we were talking about, Black women. Black women are the most disrespected women, or just the most disrespected people.
Yes.
Black women have cared for other people's kids.
Amen.
They have that nurturing and that go get it. They'll take care of anybody.
Exactly.
Even a man that don't want to go out and work. You already know, the woman they'll take care of you because they have a heart for you.
Right.
And it seemed to me Angie had that heart, because of course that she's a Black woman. But you have a whole genre of music was made. It didn't begin like this.
Right.
It began uplifting our culture. But it made money and downing and dissing Black women.
Exactly.
And then you wonder why these Black women are the way that they are.
Right.
You've hammered them down. You beat them.
Yeah.
And everybody else. You went during slavery. What did the slave master do? He go and pull him a Black woman and rape her.
Yep. In front of the husband.
In front of the
husband.
Yes. And then, beat her, because that was his property. Yeah. I mean, just a Black woman have just been disrespected, tore down, and just broken.
And sexualized.
Yes.
over
Over.
sexualized.
Yes. But we still try to keep that strength and still keep it moving and try to uplift and encourage people. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
I think all of this is an eye opener to all of us. You know, watch your surroundings.
Yes.
You know, be careful what you're doing. Don't compromise your integrity, because what happens when you compromise your integrity, then you're going to be used. They're going to continue to use you because they know that they got you.
Right.
You know, try to do the right things, you know. And when I say with Angie's situation, look at how she helped people. Even though she was in that industry, she helped people. And when she quit the different labels, she went back to the same label because they were the owner of that label.
Right.
So she stayed in that same industry that didn't respect her.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and she gave up. She gave up, you know, the time with her children
Yeah.
for her job. And a lot of us women nowadays, because you know, you have to go out and work. It is just not, you know, just a one person household anymore.
Right. It takes two nowadays.
Yes, but a lot of times us women, we spend a lot of time out of the household.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because we don't love our children, it's because we're trying to provide for them.
Make ends meet.
Yes. And then while being out of the house, the children look at that like the mother, they don't have time with their mothers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their mother is not spending time with them. They're not teaching them this, they're not teaching them that. And it's not because we don't want to, is we want a better life for you. So you
Exactly.
wouldn't have to live the life and struggle through the things like we had to.
Yeah.
But sometimes kids are ungrateful because they don't understand that. And we don't have the village that we used to have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it used to be a village in the day.
Right.
Now you don't even want to, there's no way you want to talk to your neighbor, your next
Yeah.
door neighbor.
That's the sad part about it. I mean,
Yeah.
people live in neighbor. I've been living in this neighborhood for 22 years.
Mm.
I think I know one man's name on this side of me, and the family next to me on this side. The other people, I don't know 'em.
Yep.
It ain't like I've tried to. I mean, I haven't tried to reach out or anything like that, but people just don't want to be bothered. They're very standoffish. Um, there's an African family that lives up the street and around the corner from me that has been in this neighborhood longer than me and my husband, and we've been here in this house for 22 years. These people still have yet to speak to us. They turn their nose up at us. I don't understand. I don't understand. You the same color as my husband. What are you talking about? What are we doing here?
Well,
I don't understand that.
well, that's the thing. People, because of how this world have gotten,
Yeah.
you know, everybody is against everybody, you know,
Right.
and it really doesn't matter the color of your skin, you
Hmm.
know, because
But in this case, it does, because they don't treat the other Caucasian neighbors like that.
well, your case is, yeah, I understand your case.
And I don't understand that.
Yeah. But you can be next to a black woman and she'll look at you crazy. You know what I'm saying? In some cases, that's because everything has gotten where, you know, this world has turned everybody against each other because there's no trust, it's no love, it's no nothing.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it's no community, you know, but that's the work of the enemy. If they can, if he can divide and conquer, that's what it's gonna do.
Uh-huh.
And I just hope that what's happening with Angie and this being bought broken down in the way that it has. It just opened our eyes to what's going on in this world around us. You know, it's nothing but evil, you know, and it's trying to devour and conquer all of us. We can't let the evil win. We have to break it. And I think this is why it's being bought out like this, so we can see it. And don't just cover your eyes. Because it could be you next.
Absolutely.
You know?
There by the grace of God go I. That's true.
But that's all I want to say.
Well, I so much appreciate you for coming up with that. I mean, everything that has been said tonight, I believe, was designed by God to be heard.
I truly believe that. Auntie Mickey, I truly believe that in my spirit. The people that are on your platform, you have a platform for a reason. You know, the church, and I'm not gonna you know blast the church, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
People can't go to the church building anymore because it's not safe for most people.
Right.
You know, so they need somewhere where they can talk and people understand them. The church has beat a lot of people down.
Man.
And they said the hospital is for the sick. Well, the hospital is for, I mean, the church is for you to find hope, to build you up, and not to tear you down.
Right.
But the church, to me, is not. It beats you down.
The opposite.
It's like a prison. Not exactly. So, it's not only for the sick, but it's no recovery there.
Right. Right. You have to recover from coming to the church. You got to go somewhere else to recover from that church.
You got to go to the rehab to recover from the church.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Eye of Crystal, thank you so much for becoming a new member. I appreciate you, love. But it's true. It's really true.
And people need somewhere where they can feel safe, where they can feel safe to even talk to. And your platform, you keep it real. You know, you tell them, yeah, I've experienced this, and you know, but it's nothing against God. It's against the church.
Yes.
You know, because people go to the church and they lose. They connect the church with God. Like, you know, most of us as growing up, that's how we connected with God.
Right.
But it's not like that anymore. And people connect that with God, and that is not of God.
Absolutely. There's so many different things thrown in, so many monkey wrenches thrown into this thing now that I can't even talk about it, honestly.
That's what I said. I don't want to bash the church, but I'm glad
it's
you
not
have
just the church. It's just society. What society has become, and the things that were once shunned. And I'm going to be speaking in code at this point. The things that were once not accepted back in the day are openly accepted now and considered normal, and that's a lie from hell. And that's as far as I'm gonna say about that.
That is so true. That is so, or they flipped it to where it could fit for what they're trying to do and tell you it's okay.
Exactly.
And it's not okay.
And they're coming for our babies.
That's where it starts, because they know they can get you through your babies.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember at one time they were coming for the young people, but now they're coming from the babies. And I mean the little ones. When they're approaching you in kindergarten and asking you, do you like girls or boys? Huh? Why are you asking my child that? What kind of question is that?
But the sad part is, this is the teaching. We send the children to the school and they teach it. You know what I mean? That's something that your home's supposed to teach you. That's,
Whole library section.
you know, that's not supposed to be for an outsider to
No,
do. That's supposed to be
exactly.
about the birds and remember the birds and the
Birds
bees.
and the bees. That's for
That,
mama and daddy to teach.
that's what mama and daddy teach, not the school, not the school. And people have, you know, they think it's okay that. Matter of fact, let me explain. Let me tell you what happened. This lady, you know, said her daughter had a fight in school, and I was saying, well, you probably need to, you know, kind of help her with conflict resolution. Try to teach her how, you know, how to not fight in school. She was like, well, talked about her mama. She talked about her mama. I said, yeah, but that still don't give them a reason to fight. And then I was, you know, try to just talking to her, and she was like, yeah, because I told her that the teacher's gonna have to do this and the teacher's gonna have to do that. They need to teach the kids this and teach the kids that. I said, no, conflict resolution starts at home.
Right.
You are the parent. You're supposed to teach your children how to act. And that's not on the teachers. When you leave that on the teachers, then you're open up a whole worms for your child to be learn anything.
Pandora's box of
Yeah.
garbage.
And then when you can't handle your kid, that was on you because you relied on somebody else to teach your child what you were supposed to do. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
it takes a village, but you don't leave that work for somebody else to do.
Especially when it comes down to your children.
Right. Especially a rank stranger. You know, when it takes a village, yeah, it takes a village, but you don't have a rank stranger teaching your children important things of that nature.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And then they wonder why these kids is coming out confused.
Exactly.
Very confused.
They confused.
What they say, excuse my French, batshit crazy.
Right. They
Cuckoo for
confused
Cocoa
and they
Puffs.
teaching your children confusion.
Man, that's the truth. Well, Diva King wanted to know what the topic was, I guess. Respectfully, what is the topic, y'all? Anybody know anything? We talking plain and common sense right about now. Everybody has a story. That was in the title. Just like Angie, everybody has a story. I was trying to keep it in line with in light of Angie Stone and what she went through. We didn't get to hear her full story, but we heard enough at the very tail end that all of us have a story that we can share with each other and connect in some shape, form, or fashion. So that was why I came up with that title for today.
And you know what, Auntie, we are hearing her full story.
Yes.
We are hearing it.
Yes. But it came at the very end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that means, you know, her life was, you know, it was a story behind it. You know, well, everybody's life is a story behind it. But it wasn't in vain.
Yes.
You know, because
and that's the main thing. It wasn't in vain.
It wasn't in vain because her story tells her life and all that she went through. Now we see it on paper, what she actually went through and what she was going through.
Yeah.
So we won't fall in the trap. Let her story enlighten us. So that won't be our story in the end. You know what I mean?
Right.
Watch the people you're around.
That's right.
Watch the documents you sign. Yes, attorneys make house money, but are you worth the money?
That's right.
You know, is your legacy worth the money? Because you might don't have it, or you think you don't have it, and you shortchange, and then when you shortchange, you get the people in her life that came in her life.
Yeah.
And really, you know, not saying that she shortchanged, but she had a lot of crazy people that didn't have her best interest at heart.
Yeah.
So, and
I'd have to agree.
They were going after the money.
And
So
you know, I'm going to show you how God works. And I'm not saying this to toot my own horn or nothing like this. I'm saying this because I experienced this last night. And I was showing my husband last night's live stream that I had last night. And we got to the part where Tony showed that document, that last document. And remember, Miss Diamond said, "That's not my mother's signature." Y'all remember that? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that. She said, "That is not my mother's signature." And it didn't hit me until I saw it in writing again. When I looked in the chat and she said, and I brought it up on the screen, and, just as protected by God's post is right now. I brought it up and it said, "That is not my mother's signature." And there was a quiet after that. And when I saw that on the screen, you know what hit me? It hit me like a brick. I said, wait a minute. This document is dated November 22nd, 2024. And I said, but wait a minute, she was in the hospital in November. And I jumped up and I called Tony and I said, Tony, when was she in the hospital? When? What were the dates? Because I remember hearing her testimony when she was talking about it, saying that she had been stuck with that needle and got some kind of a blood infection of some kind. It almost took her out. And she cried out to Jesus, 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 and he healed her. But this was not no overnight healing. And I don't know how long she spent in that hospital, but I pictured a couple weeks, when something like that happens. I've been admitted to the hospital for what was that called? Where poison just goes all through your body. It wasn't a staph infection, but it was just something that it could have took me out.
A bacterial infection.
It was a bacteria. Well, yeah, it was I believe it was I'm not going to get to lying. I really don't remember. All I remember is that they admitted me and told me if I had not come in, I'd have been gone. And I felt very, very sick. And I was in the hospital for a little over a week. Septic. Thank you. I went septic, Kifa. Thank you so much. She had contracted sepsis. Yes, protected by God. Man, when I saw that, I was like, oh my God. When was she in the hospital? And I remember that she had also missed a gig in November. You guys remember that?
Yep.
That she was unable to attend. And I jumped on the internet and looked at her previous gigs for last year and found that November gig was on November 17th. That document was signed on the 22nd. She didn't make that gig on the 17th because she was in the hospital. Now, y'all put 2 and 2 together. I'm just saying what I'm saying.
When I heard that and I saw the date, 11, whatever it was, and I saw that and I said, well, why are they just now filing it down to the court?
Yeah.
When she was already in the bankruptcy. Remember that?
Right. But the thing is the signature. Angie did not sign that document.
Right. Exactly.
That was it right there. It hit me like a brick. And I jumped up and I called Tony. I said, Tony, we got to find out when she was in the hospital. I don't know how we going to do it, but we got to find out when she was admitted and when she was released. Because Diamond said that's not her signature. And if she was in the hospital on the brink of death, I don't very well see her signing that document on that date. So I don't know what will become of that, but it's God works in mysterious ways. I'm here to tell you that is not something that I was looking for.
Yeah, but how
it,
did she sign it if she was really? Didn't she say she was in intensive care?
I don't recall her saying that. I'm not saying that she didn't say that, but I remember her talking about being in the hospital, and she was very, very, very ill.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the date on that paper, the 22nd, and the date that she was supposed to be performing was the 17th. That's a 5-day difference. And she missed that gig because she was sick in the hospital. So
So since you brought that up, Aunt Mickey, so when you go in the hospital and you that ill, they normally have somebody to probably you sign a document saying that you give um oh my goodness, I'm looking for the word. I can't think of the word.
power
Uh
of attorney,
Power of attorney.
power of
That's
attorney,
it.
medical power of attorney.
Yes, medical power of attorney.
Uh-huh.
So if she has medical power of attorney, she can't sign those documents anyway. So that's illegal for anybody to come up with. Yeah, you're right.
Well, and there's another layer to it right there. Look how God works.
You can't tell me he ain't in this.
Look how God works. I didn't know that, but you did. Wow. Wow. Well, all I can say is just like you said, God is all up in this. And, let the chips fall where they may. That's all we can do, is let the chips fall where they may, because God's will is always going to be done. Always.
Yep.
So, well, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream. I'm going to give you guys the rest of the evening to relax. I'm not going to keep you up all night like last night. Oh, goodness gracious. But I truly appreciate all of you. You guys just don't know. Y'all mean so much to me. Faith, you've become an extended piece of me on this live stream. So I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate those that got a membership today. I appreciate the super chats. I love y'all. That's all I can say. I love y'all. And I think we're going to be around each other for a long, long time. Absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. We've been doing this for 2 hours and 14 minutes, 25 seconds. And it's time for me to get something to eat before I pass out. But you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same channel. So I love y'all. Take care.
Have a good one, Auntie Mickey.
You too, love. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Mickey. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. So fine, you got my mind. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. So fine, you. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine.
Hit the like button. It don't cost you nothing.